Good morning, dears. All of you, welcome to our social science class. In the last two chapters, we have discussed the history of medieval India and the history of medieval world, especially medieval Europe, China, and the Arab world. Okay? Now, let us discuss the social life in Kerala during the medieval period. Copper plates are the important source of history of medieval Kerala between the 9th and 18th century CE. Copper plates are the source of history of Kerala between the 9th and 18th century CE. What is this copper plates? Did you ever hear this? No. The copper plates in Malayalam, cheppedugal. Copper plates with inscription were used as document in ancient times. Copper plates with inscription were used as a document in the ancient time. The official documents given by the chieftains or the Naduvaris to temples and the tradesmen were mainly on such copper plates. These are some official documents given by the chieftains. Chieftains means the Naduvaris to the temples and the tradesmen. They are mainly on such copper plates. Some examples: Terisapalli copper plate, Jewish copper plate, Paliam copper plate, etc. In some of these copper plates, the chieftain's reigning period, their ruling period is also recorded. In some copper plates, the chieftains or the Naduvaris' ruling period is also recorded. See this picture. It is such a copper plate. Its name, Jewish copper plate. Are you familiar with this script used in this? Is it Malayalam? No, it is not Malayalam. It is not familiar to us. The script used here is Vatteluthu. It is Vatteluthu. It's an old script. This copper plate is a record of the rights sanctioned to Anjuvannam. Anjuvannam is a group of traders, and this copper plate, the Jewish copper plate, is a record of the rights sanctioned to Anjuvannam by Bhaskara Ravi, a medieval ruler of Kerala, based on Mahodayapuram. Once again, this copper plate is a record of the rights sanctioned to Anjuvannam by Bhaskara Ravi, a medieval ruler of Kerala, based at Mahodayapuram. The medieval ruler Bhaskara Ravi sanctioned some rights to Anjuvannam. It's a group of traders, and its record is this copper plate. Do you know where the Mahodayapuram was located? Did you ever heard this place, Mahodayapuram? See this map. This is the map of Kerala during the Perumal period, that is the CE 800 to CE 1122. This is the map of Kerala during that period. See, where is the Mahodayapuram? See on the left side, Kodungallur, in bracket, Muyirikode or Mahodayapuram. That means the present Kodungallur and the surrounding areas were known as Mahodayapuram in those days. The present Kodungallur and the surrounding areas were known as Mahodayapuram in those days. Then let's have an inquiry into Mahodepuram, its rulers and the life of the people. Kerala was a part of the ancient Tamilagam ruled by the Moovendas. Kerala was a part of the ancient Tamilagam and the ancient Tamilagam was ruled by the Moovendas. After that, a kingdom based at Mahodepuram was established by the 9th century CE. The rulers of the kingdom were known as Perumals. At 9th century CE, a kingdom was based on Mahodepuram was established and the rulers of that kingdom were known as Perumals. The Perumals were also known as Cheras and Cheramans. The Perumals were also known as Cheras and Cheramans. We said Mahodepuram. The present Kodungalur and surrounding areas were known as Mahodepuram. The rulers of the kingdom were known as Perumals and they were also known as Cheras and Cheramans. Some of these rulers adopted the title Kulashekara. Some of the rulers adopted the title Kulashekara. The most region in the present Kerala were under the rule of the Perumal. See this map again. See. From this, you can see that the reign of the Perumals extended from Venadu in the south to Kolathanadu in the north. The Perumals extended from Venadu in the south to Kolathanadu in the north. That means most region in the present Kerala were under the rule of the Perumals. Next, let us examine the socio-economic features of that regions during the reign of Perumals. In the time of the Perumals, which are the socio-economic features of this region? Agriculture flourished in areas close to water resources. In the areas close to water resources, their agriculture flourished and Brahmins established their power in the agricultural village. Brahmins established their power in the agricultural villages. The ownership of farm lands was vested in the Brahmins. We said agriculture flourished in the area close to water resources and in these agricultural land, the Brahmins established their power in agricultural land and villages. The ownership of farmlands were vested in the Brahmins. Aladiyas were the people who toiled in the soil. Toil means worked extremely hard. The people were hard in the soil or the farmers. They were known as Aladiyas. The temples developed as centers of power. Besides farmers, there were many other occupational groups in village. As agriculture became widespread, large areas of land called Nadu developed. As the agriculture became widespread, large areas of land called Nadu developed. Those who established power over the Nadu or Nads came to be known as Naduvaris. Who are Naduvaris? Those who established power over the Nadu came to be known as Naduvaris. Let's see more about these Naduvaris and Naduvari Swarupams. The reign or the rule of the Perumals came to an end by the 12th century. By the 12th century, the rule of the Perumals came to an end. Consequently, the chieftains who were the local rulers under the Perumals began rule their respective nads independently. Before we said, there are Naduvaris in nads. After the Perumal's reign, the chieftains or the Naduvaris began to rule their respective nads independently. They started to rule their nads independently. The region under the control of a chieftain was known as Swarupa. The region under the control of a chieftain or Naduvari was known as Swarupa. The joint family of the chieftain was also known as Swarupa. The region under the control of a chieftain and the joint family of the chieftain is also known as Swarupa. The eldest member of the family become the ruler. That's the rule. The eldest member of the family became the ruler. Then there were disparities or inequalities in wealth and military power among the nads. There were inequalities in wealth and military power among the nads. They are not equal. The nads were not equal in the case of wealth and military power. So, the chieftains fought among themselves for power. It's a common situation. Sometimes the rulers fight for power and wealth. Here we are discussing about the Naduvari Swarupam. Here are 4 major Swarupams during the period. Trippapur Swarupam, Perumpadappu Swarupam, Nediyiruppu Swarupam and Kola Swarupam. Once again, Trippapur Swarupam in Venad, Perumpadappu Swarupam in Kochi, Nediyiruppu Swarupam in Kozhikode and Kola Swarupam in Chirakkal. Okay. Here is a table in our textbook, page number 136. The 4 Swarupams are given. You have to write the nads name. Okay. Next, trade in medieval Kerala. Internal and external trade made great progress in Kerala during that period. Can you guess the goods that were exchanged from Kerala? Any guess? Let's see these pictures. These are the clues for you. See this. Did you see it? Which are them? Say cardamom, ginger, pepper, cotton. Okay. These are the main goods that were exchanged from Kerala. Goods from other lands also reached the markets of Kerala by trade. These are the pictures of them. Which are they? Can you identify these? Clay pots, fishing net and silk. These are the main goods from other land to reach our markets. Earlier, trade was carried out through the exchange of goods for goods. In the earlier stage, trade was carried out through the exchange of goods for goods. What is the name of that system? The goods for goods. You heard it in the previous classes, previous standards. What's its name? The barter system. Okay. Later, goods began to be exchanged for money. Later, exchange of money is occurred. Trade groups, namely Anjuvannam, Manigramam, etc., existed during the period. So, Anjuvannam and Manigramam are the trade groups. Okay, they were the trade groups that existed in Kerala from the 9th to the 13th century CE. Coastal towns of Kerala were their major commercial centers. Okay. Anjuvannam, Manigramam are some trade groups in Kerala during the medieval period. Realizing the importance of trade, the Perumals extended every help to the trade groups. The Perumals extended every help to the trade groups and also the tax on trade was an important source of income during that period. The traders or the trade groups paid some tax on their trade. Okay. The demand for exported goods increased. When the exported goods demand increases, then what's the result? The increase in the cultivation. Here also, this resulted in the increase in the cultivation of such crops in rural areas. And these goods were exchanged in the markets. The development of markets helped in the strengthening of local trade. What we said? The demand for exported goods increased. Therefore, the increase in the cultivation of such crops in rural areas, and these goods were exchanged in the markets, and the development of markets helped in the strengthening of the local trade. That means the local trade improved very much, and the maritime trade attained tremendous progress during this period. Okay. Anantapuram, Kollam, Kochi, Kozhikode and Pandalayani were the major markets of the period. The major ports were Kollam, Kochi, Kozhikode and Valapattanam. We said maritime trade attained tremendous progress during that time. With this, the major ports Kollam, Kochi, Kozhikode and Valapattanam developed more. Okay, look at these parts on the map of the Kerala. We saw several goods reached the markets in Kerala through land and sea trade. Let's hear this description of these goods in Unnanili Sandesham, a poem in Manipravala. A poem in Manipravala. Manipravalam is a new style of language evolved during the medieval period. It was a mixture of Sanskrit and Old Malayalam. Manipravalam is a mixture of Sanskrit and Old Malayalam. Several literary works were written in this style during the medieval period. Let's hear the description in Unnanili Sandesham. തട്ടം കട്ടിൽ കയറുവല കൈക്കട്ടിൽ മഞ്ചട്ടിക്കൊട്ടം മുട്ടും മുട്ടിൽ കരയുമരിയും പെട്ടിയും പട്ടുനൂലും ആടും ചാടും കുടയുമടയും പഞ്ഞിയും മുഞ്ഞിവേരും നൂറും ചോറും ചുറയുമറയും കാരിരുമ്പം കരിമ്പം. You just read these portions 4 to 5 times and then list the items available in the market during the period, or list the items that mentioned in the description. In the previous chapters, especially in medieval India, we saw there are some travelogues that describe the social situations at that time. Here also some travelogues. Let's see one of that. Let's now go through the description of The 15th century Calicut port and trade by Ma Huan, a Chinese traveler who visited Kerala during that period. Let us listen the description. By Ma Huan, a Chinese traveler. Okay, let us listen. As a ship carrying goods from China arrives at the port, Shabandakoya, the king's representative, and a broker board the ship and list the good. A suitable day is opted to fix the price of goods. Priority was given to silk cloths. Once the price are fixed, they take a vow that the price of goods will not be changed under any circumstances. What is he said in this travelogue or in this description? This description is about the Calicut port and trade. Okay. He said, when a ship carrying goods from China arrives at that port, Shabandakoya, he is the king's representative, and a broker boarded that ship, and they list the goods in the ship. Shabandakoya and a broker, they board the ship and list the goods in it. Then they opted a suitable day to fix the price of the goods. Priority was given to the silk cloths. They opted a suitable day to fix the price. Then once the prices are fixed, they take a vow that the prices of goods will not be changed under any circumstance. What is that? അവർ ഒരു വില നിശ്ചയിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ മറ്റുള്ളവരെ കൊണ്ട് ഒരു പ്രതിജ്ഞ എടുപ്പിക്കും. എന്താണ്? ഇനി മറ്റെന്തൊരു കാരണമുണ്ടായാലും അല്ലെങ്കിൽ യാതൊരു കാരണവശാലും നിങ്ങളുടെ ചരക്കുകളുടെ വില ഇപ്പോൾ നിശ്ചയിച്ചിരിക്കുന്നതിൽ നിന്നും മാറ്റം വരുത്തുവാൻ പാടുള്ളതല്ല എന്ന് ഒരു പ്രതിജ്ഞ എടുപ്പിക്കും. ഓക്കെ. Thus, the goods were exchanged for the price fixed by the dallals or brokers. Next topic, language, art and literature in medieval Kerala. We have read a few lines from Unnunili Sandesham. Is it the Malayalam language is used in it? No, it is Manipravalam. It was a mixture of Sanskrit and Old Malayalam. Do you think Malayalam have been in use since ancient times? Any guess? Okay, let's listen. It's generally believed that Malayalam has evolved from Tamil. Malayalam has evolved from the language Tamil. Sanskrit also has greatly influenced the development of Malayalam. Malayalam is evolved from Tamil. Sanskrit language also has greatly influenced the development of Malayalam. Sanskrit language play a great role in the development of Malayalam. Vatteluthu and Koleluthu were the scripts used to write Old Malayalam. Vatteluthu and Koleluthu were the scripts used to write Old Malayalam. Recall the Jewish copper plate. It's written in Vatteluthu script. Okay. And Krishna Gatha by Cherusheri, Adhyatma Ramayanam Kilipattu and Mahabharatham Kilipattu by Eluthachan, Tullal literature of Kunjan Nambiyar, etc. contributed to the development of Malayalam language. Which are the books contributed to the development of Malayalam language? Krishna Gatha by Cherusheri, Adhyatma Ramayanam Kilipattu and Mahabharatham Kilipattu by Eluthachan, Tullal literature of Kunjan Nambiyar, etc. contributed to the development of Malayalam language. And the Muhyiddin Mala, written in Arabic Malayalam by Qazi Muhammad in the 17th century, and Puttanpana, written by Arnos Padiri in the 18th century, enriched the language. The other text, Muhyiddin Mala, written in Arabic Malayalam by Qazi Muhammad in 17th century, and the Puttanpana, the book Puttanpana, written by Arnos Padiri in the 18th century, also enriched this language, enriched or Malayalam. Besides this, the Vadakkan Pattu, Thekkan Pattu and Tozhil Pattu also contributed to the popularity of Malayalam. Okay. Krishnagada by Cherusheri, Adhyatma Ramayanam Kilipattu and Mahabharatam Kilipattu by Eluthachan, Thullal literature of Kunchan Nambiyar and Muhyiddin Mala by Qazi Muhammad, Puttanpana, written by Arnos Padiri, Vadakkan Pattu, Thekkan Pattu and Tozhil Pattu. They also contributed to the popularity of Malayalam. The Muhyiddin Mala, written in Arabic Malayalam. This Arabic Malayalam is a hybrid language that was common among the Muslims in Kerala. Arabic Malayalam is a hybrid language that was common among the Muslims in Kerala. Arabic script was used to write this language. Okay. Next, the art forms in Kerala. Here is a picture in our textbook, page number 140. Observe the picture and say which art forms are depicted in it. Say which are they? Say Kathakali, then Oppana, Kudiyattam, Margangali, etc. In addition to literature, many art forms that developed in medieval Kerala. Dance and music flourished in temples during that period. Koothu, Kudiyattam and Kathakali were staged in the Koothambalam attached to temples. In these art forms, Koothu, Kudiyattam and Kathakali, they were staged in the Koothambalam attached to temples. Hence, these art forms are called temple arts. Which are the temple arts? Kathakali, Koothu, Kudiyattam. Why they are called temple arts? They were staged in the Koothambalam attached to temples. So, these art forms came to be known as temple arts. Then, some ritual art forms like Theyyam, Thira and Kalampattu were performed in caves or sacred groves and other places of worship. They were more popular than the temple art. Theyyam, Thira and Kalampattu, they were performed in caves or sacred groves and other places of worship. They were more popular than the temple arts. Koothu, Kudiyattam and Kathakali were known as temple arts. Theyyam, Thira and Kalampattu, they are sacred groves, Anushtana Kalagal. They are more popular than the temple arts. Apart from this, several other art forms were performed in the connection with rituals and celebrations of different religious communities. Example, Oppana, Margangali, Chavittu Nadagam. There are some art forms connected with the rituals and celebration of different religious communities. Okay. Next, knowledge in medieval Kerala. Medieval Kerala had gained much progress in the field of knowledge. Shankaranarayanan was a famous astronomer during the reign of the Perumals. Shankaranarayanan was a famous astronomer during the reign of the Perumal. He has authored Shankaranarayaniyam, a book on astronomy. Shankaranarayanan, a famous astronomer, he has authored a famous book on astronomy named Shankaranarayaniyam. The contributions of Samgrama Madhavan to mathematics gained worldwide acclaim. A famous mathematician, Sangrama Madhavan. Then Ashtanga Hridayam on Ayurveda was also written during this period. Famous book Ashtanga Hridayam on Ayurveda, written during the medieval period. The two important literary works on history, Mushakavamsham and Tuhfat-ul-Mujahideen. Two famous literary works on history, Mushakavamsham and Tuhfat-ul-Mujahideen, were written during the medieval period. The centers of education during the period were attached to temple, and they were known as Shalais. Shalagal. Okay, Shalais. Kandallur Shalai, Vizhinjam Shalai, Parthivashekarapuram Shalai are some examples. Kandallur Shalai, Vizhinjam Shalai, Parthivashekarapuram Shalai are example for Shalais. What are Shalais? The centers of education during the period or during the medieval period were attached to temples. They were called Shalais. And there are some centers of education attached to Buddhist centers. They were known as Palli. The educational centers attached to Buddhist centers were known as Palli. A different socio-economic system developed in Kerala by the 18th century. Language, art, literature and knowledge gained a unique identity during this period. With this unit is over. Let us summarize this unit. Okay. Copper plates are a major source of information on medieval Kerala. Say some example for copper plates. Jewish copper plate, Tarisapalli copper plates are some example. Okay. In the 19th century, a new kingdom based at Mahodapuram was established, and they were known as Perumals. They also known as Cheras and Cheramans. Agriculture and trade formed the base of economy during the Perumal reign. The chieftains or Naduvaris gained power with the decline of Perumals. The areas ruled by the Naduvaris or chieftains were known as Swarupam, Naduvari Swarupam. Foreign and local trade flourished, leading to the development of new markets and ports. Malayalam language got enriched during the medieval period. Art, literature and knowledge prospered. Okay, this unit is over. Watch the class carefully and prepare notes and study well. Okay, thank you.